Hi all, I'm Dan Smakrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Thursday, July 22, 2021, and you're watching WGAN TV live at 5. We have an awesome show for you today, 20 great real estate photography websites for inspiration. Here to talk to us is Kansas City-based Josh Mays, founder of Show and Tour. Hey Josh, good to see you.
Hey Dan, glad to be here.
Josh, you put together this amazing list of 20 great real estate websites. Before we jump into that, how about telling us a little bit about yourself and about your companies?
Yeah, sure thing. So I've been a professional real estate photographer and virtual tour provider for the last 7-8 years. So very much in the trenches myself. I started, as the solo photographer, slowly built up a team. And so now I've got a small team in Kansas City, which can help me keep up with things. And so as the photographer myself, I was always looking for ways to innovate, to add value, to, improve my brand. And so early on, I did start to build out a software for my company exclusively to manage projects, create property websites. Property websites were always a big part of my business. And so I started the photography business, Sherpa Media, based out of Kansas City. Just recently, the last 2 years, I've also been pushing into the new business, Show and Tour. And so Show and Tour is, as I hinted, it's a software specifically for our industry, for real estate photographers, virtual tour providers, to manage your projects in an efficient way, deliver to your clients really professionally with project delivery pages, and then create value-adding tools like property websites and custom players. We call it a media player to combine all the things you created into one embeddable player. So tools like that, just for you to add value. And so it gets me really excited, and it's fun to offer something that I personally needed to the rest of the community and other photographers. And so that's kind of my history. And so recently I've been working on the blog for Show and Tour. And I like to focus the blog on resources to help photographers. And so that's what brought out this recent post of 20 plus websites for inspiration. So I've personally designed my own photography website years back, and I've always iterated and tried to improve on it. So I've had my mind in this for a long time. And then I've also personally scanned thousands of sites of other photographers to kind of pick out some good ones and different elements that I think people can learn from. So.
Awesome. Before we jump into 20 great real estate photography websites for inspiration, I just wanted to mention that we'll have 2 special Show and Tour offers coming up later in the show. And that's Josh's company, Show and Tour, spelled with an ampersand, Show and Tour. And the website is actually showandtour.com with and spelled out, showandtour.com. We'll talk a little bit more about that later in the show with the 2 special offers. And, I did want to mention, Josh, that I'm so excited. I mean, when you did this post, this blog post, I reached out to you because I thought that anyone in the We Get Around Network Forum that was thinking about redesigning their website, anyone that was new to real estate photography and creating a website from scratch, or even someone that was just curious about great looking real estate photography websites looking for inspiration, I just thought, wow, let's go through your list. I thought this would be really cool. So yeah. If that's okay, we'll actually do that. And yeah. I will, I think you'd asked me to share screen, so I'll go ahead and do that. And mention that we are on the Show and Tour blog. So this is where you can find this post if you're looking for it later. Show and Tour. You can, in fact, you can also find it in the We Get Around Network Forum. If you just come over here, check out this post, and here's the link to it. So let me go back to your site. And if I scroll down, we're going to go through these just alphabetically and take a look at them. Before we jump into the first one, was there some context that you wanted to give about the sites?
Yeah, so there's a large variety on the list. I specifically wanted to find a variety because it's for inspiration. So I didn't want them, maybe I prefer a minimal design, but I didn't want every site to be my preference. There's lots of ways to build out a website. So I tried to find a good variety of different styles and designs. But each website had to at least have like 4 good things going for it. So a clear message. It was easy to navigate. It established its authority and experience in some way, and it had a good call to action. I think there might be a couple on here that maybe don't hit all 4, but they had some other element that I thought was worth sharing. So those are things I've learned that are just kind of a must with a website. And so I'll call out those elements on probably each website and then some other things I've noticed. So
okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead and your request, drive, share screen, and just let you
perfect.
Riff about the websites.
Yep.
Aerial Canvas, aerialcanvas.com. What do you like about this site?
So also background, I do know a lot of these photographers. So I know a lot of the people. And so I kind of know some of the background of the businesses. So you'll also notice that some businesses are big multi-state companies. Some are small, just a single photographer in their specific city. So this is an example of they're based out of LA, I believe, but they have a big reach throughout California, but also I'm pretty sure nationwide. They're a big company, fast growing. So one thing that I thought on the top line, there's the header. So it says building lifelong brands for top producers in real estate. So this is that top header is the first message you want to tell everyone that comes to your site. So to me, this message, it conveys that they are trying to build long-term relationships between them and their clients, and they're implying a good return on their services. So they're implying you're building your brand, you're growing, and they work with top producers. That also helps add that experience. So if you continue to scroll down, when websites add logos for their clients, this is typically a good way to show that you have experience, that you work with top brands. This website also, they have a really nice commercial. That's what this video is. I don't think we want to play it now, but they really invested. And of course, they're a bigger company. They really invested in a nice commercial. So just like many of us sell video, we know the power of video it has on a website. So it's of course great to use video on your own website. This is another common thing you're going to see with a lot of these websites. It's very clear what they offer. So not everyone displays that on their homepage, their landing page. Aerial Canvas does. I think that's nice and clear. And then they, of course, even right there, they're showing pricing on the homepage. So this, you're going to hear me mention clarity a lot. That's a big thing in my mind on what makes a website good, is it's very clear what they're offering, how much it is, and how to book. So that last thing is that call to action. So almost every website we show will have a good call to action. So you'll see Aerial Canvas has a call to action almost every scroll. There's a button to learn more, to book now, or whatever it might be. So this is another example where they packed a lot of information on one page, so it keeps you scrolling. That's one strategy. Other sites don't do that. So they might just have a single big picture and whatnot. But if you scroll back up to the top, I don't remember their entire menu system, but this is a pretty standard menu system where you have services. They have a long list of services. They might talk about themselves, why us, about. This is a big company, so they have careers on there, so they're hiring. And then you might have a book now, client portal, and then contact somewhere along those lines. So to me, that's kind of a good standard menu. So yeah, I thought they are very successful. So that's another good reason to at least consider how they did it.
Attractivelisting.com.
So this one I thought was an awesome example of being extremely clear and simple. If you scroll, it's very minimal design, and very good calls to action. So I think they do a good job of, it gives you just what you want to see without forcing too much information. So this is kind of on the other end of the spectrum where there's not a lot of words. It's just very clear. They have some services. They have a call to action, and then a few links to, to their portfolio and booking. So I like these websites because you don't have to, websites can be very intimidating to build out. And so you don't have to overthink it. I like to, if you're just starting from scratch, it's probably a good idea to start simple. And not saying that they just started from scratch, but you can actually have a very successful business with an extremely simple website.
What are your thoughts about including a phone number prominently? The last site did, this one doesn't.
If you click contact, what do they do? So I think most people do have their phone number. Since we're a service-based business, you want to be able to get people to contact you in whatever way they like. So from my experience as a photographer, I know a lot of agents, they'll just text even. And those are more your consistent clients. But I do like the idea of having phone, email, or any other form of contacting. So I think it's a good idea.
Curb 360, curb360.com.
Yeah. So this is kind of on the other end of the spectrum where they're displaying lots of information on their site. I liked that they displayed their value proposition front and center. So it gives you a few, so like they give you results. They have a 24-hour turnaround, complete marketing toolkit, and rates from 179. So these are all tailored marketing phrases to try to hit where they think their clients, their clients might want to know and see. So a good, nice, clean list of services. Again, this is re-hitting that value idea. So we talked about with Aerial Canvas, they had client logos that kind of displayed their authority or their experience. Client testimonials, I think, is probably another way to do that, and probably a better way. Testimonials, short testimonials at least. You probably don't want them to be too long. Most people won't read them, but a nice short sentence with people, and you can see the different brands underneath them. I think that's a great idea. And then, of course, those call to actions on this website. They have good call to action buttons, book shoot. Most websites will have that call to action in the top menu bar. I think that's really smart. And then they'll have it throughout the page as you scroll. So basically, when at any point while they're on the site, it's just very easy to jump into booking. So you can see, there's just so many ways to design a website. And this, I think they did a good job of packing a lot of information, but in a clean way. There's also an aspect of like, here's a big block of text that maybe most people won't read, but there's benefits of text for SEO. So there's kind of pros and cons. Text is good for SEO. So you do need some text. And so there's people do it different ways, but the rest of their site, I think, was pretty standard, and they did a good job. I think those were the main things.
dupleximaging.com.
So this is one of my favorites. I like them all, but I like them. This is one of those super simple and clean websites. It's very clear. I think they do a good balance of visuals and text. And of course, they've got some elements of color there. So I basically like the design elements on this page. It feels fresh. And then of course they hit all those key things. So they've got a clear message. It's easy to navigate. They establish their authority and experience. I think that by showing those recent projects, that really helps. So that's another way to establish experience is, of course, showing your portfolio. And then they've got calls to action. So this had a cool, they thought they had nice design elements. So that's another thing, aspect of a site. The design, of course, makes a big difference. Some sites, in my opinion, might go too heavy on design. You don't want the design to take away from the message. But so yeah, they did a great job. And so that's also an example of you starting off. A lot of these sites, they might let their work speak louder than the words. And so you'll see different elements of that.
In-frame real estate, inframerealestate.com, inframerealestate.com.
Yeah. So they have obviously front and center a very large call to action. So get in touch. That's obviously makes it really easy for any visitor to jump on and just reach out. And then of course, the background, the video background, very fast paced, moving. They have this company, if I remember correctly, they have a large focus on video. So when you focus on video, it makes a lot of sense to have really nice highlight video throughout your site. Yeah, I did recently notice that. I think that's recent. They have a couple videos that are down. So if they're watching this, maybe they'll see it, and fix it soon. But yeah, I thought they did a good job with visual elements. So I considered this site visually heavy. So they're using big images and video backgrounds. That's a good way to show your work, but also make your work part of the design at the same time. So.
Anything else on in-frame real estate?
I think that's mostly it. Yeah, I think they did a really good job.
Okay. LA360VR, LA360VR.com.
So this one is a good site for probably a lot of We Get Around network viewers because it's got a big virtual tour focus. So this is an example where they provide all the services, but they very much are focusing on virtual tours and a lot of their verbiage and examples. They do pack a lot of information on this site. So this should be, again, bouncing back to that more of like lots of information versus being minimal. So they went for lots of text, lots of key value statements, links to services, establishing authority and experience with some numbers, showing key. So this one's actually not just showing the services they offer, they're actually showing key features of the services. So specifically here, the virtual tours with Matterport, it looks like mostly. Google Street View there too. Looks like they've got testimonials. No, they did the logo thing. So they, again, show their experience with customer logos. So obviously if you're just starting out, you're not going to have those customer logos, but it is smart to try to get testimonials with your first few clients if you're brand new. That's really nice. Just having a face, a brand with nice text, it just in general gives people a little bit more confidence that you have experience and you know what you're doing. So which is part of the purpose of your website, is to give people confidence to call you or book with you. So yeah, they're also a fairly good sized company. I believe they've got a large.
Well, I would say just based on the number of 3D tours that they've done, that would that sounds like a big number. Okay. Nashua Video Tours, NashuaVideoTours.com.
Mhm. So this is Fred Light. He's been kind of doing video, I think it was 15 plus years. So he's been doing it a very long time. He's very successful. So he's just kind of a long timer in the industry that, of course, he's going to have this locked down and have a good website. And so, you know, his verbiage, his use of text and words, those are great. I don't think you should copy. When we show verbiage of websites, you should never copy word for word, but it's really great to see maybe the value statements that this photographer chooses to point out, and that can help guide you on like what things are important to agents or to your clients. So obviously someone that's been in the industry this long that does really well, they know the value, they know what their services, you know, what makes those services valuable. So they put that in text form really nicely. And he's also video heavy. So let's see, he's got a lot of information on this site. So it's a big site actually. If you drop down some of these menus, you could spend a lot of time on the site reading lots of different things, seeing examples, but he keeps the homepage fairly simple. So that's kind of playing maybe a little bit of the best of both worlds, where like someone might want to know all these things, someone might sit here and click around for a long time, but for a lot of people, they just want to scan your site, see what you do, see what you're about, and book or contact you. So I like his implementation of.
Josh, you have any thoughts on pricing? Include pricing, don't include pricing?
Yeah, that's kind of a debated topic. I think for when you're a service-based business, so when you're very focused on kind of providing all the services to help your clients, you know, sell homes or improve their brand, these types of things, I think it makes a lot of sense to include pricing. That's one of the first things people want to know. So the alternative, if you don't include pricing, you might get more phone calls and opportunities to talk with people because they just call you and want to know how much you charge. Once you start to get busy, so me personally, I think I maybe started without showing pricing. And then once you start getting busy, you kind of don't want to take phone calls that just answer how much the price is and the agent's trying to get off the phone. So I personally like showing pricing. It gives the viewer what they want to see. And it helps people categorize themselves as well. So there's going to be a lot of agents, if you work with real estate agents, that are just maybe won't pay the prices you charge, and that's okay. They're not going to be your client. They may never be your client. And so I think I am a fan of showing pricing.
Okay.
But that's just my opinion.
Okay. Nest Property Marketing.
Yeah.
So this is at nestpropertymarketing.co.uk.
Yeah, .co.uk. So this is an example of a very visual heavy website. So if you notice as you scroll through, it's every background, it's video and it's photos throughout the entire website. So I liked this example because it's different. It gives you a different. If you like this look, it's a cool example of you don't need to have the perfect, you know, white website with just a single line of text. You can go with big, bold pictures in the background and video that, again, it's kind of the idea of it shows your work, but your work becomes an element of design on the site. So I think that's a clever way to kind of show your portfolio throughout the site, is use it as the design element and as the background. And so they hit all the big things. It's fairly easy to navigate. You can inquire now. You can explore all their things, all their services. They do have, I remember, I don't know where it was specifically, but they established their authority. They talk about clients. I think they have a clients tab at the top. And of course that call to action, inquire now. So they chose to say inquire now rather than book now. Most people say book now, but it could be a cultural difference with agents in the UK versus US. Maybe in the US, people just want to book now, be quick. Maybe they are more focused on the relationship and want to talk with them and vet them for a little longer before working with them full time. So you have to, that's obviously a decision based on the culture of maybe your city, your country, or even the type of client you work with, on if you go with something like, reach out to us, let's have coffee, or you're just like, book now, or call me. And so that's another element to consider.
Photostetic at photostetic.com.
Yeah. So I like this site a lot. It's got a big, bold value statement. I personally think that's a good idea. So their thing was sell faster with professional photography. So it's immediately telling people, why you should hire them, helps you sell faster. As you scroll down, you jump into a nice gallery. So they're immediately jumping into it's a nice, beautiful gallery. It's clearly saying we do beautiful work. We know what we're doing. You just see that instantly. So in general, I put it in my notes, they're just in general on point with hitting all the important stuff on their homepage.
How lucky that they show up and they have these beautiful skies and old sunsets and
yeah.
Look at that.
So they
just
always blue skies. Yeah.
At the perfect right time to catch that shot.
Yeah. So this is another thing to point out is you'll see this a lot in other types of industries where they're like, step 1, step 2, step 3. That's nice. The idea there is just, again, providing clarity for the viewer on how it works. You call us, we show up to shoot, you get your photos in 2 days or whatever it is. So that's nice. Again, showing their services, talking about, why work with us. That's nice and clear. Showing logos again, seeing who hires us, and let's book. Request a quote, instant booking, ready to go. So I think that's a good wireframe of a website if anyone's just looking for something to just jump into. You got your header, big value statement, portfolio, hit those things. So yeah, I think they did a great job.
Servant 360 at Servant 360.
I believe it's Servant 360.
Servant. Say it again for me.
Servant.
Interesting.
I thought, no, maybe it is Servant. I guess I'm reading it wrong.
We'll have to get clarification on that. So the interesting thing in terms of picking a name, will you have different ways to pronounce it or say it, or just be confusing? Took me a second to look at it. So I'm going to say Servant 360 at servant360nm.com.
So this is really an interesting site because you'll notice that they don't link to their portfolio at all. Their whole focus is on their message. And so they have shots of Pete is his name. They have shots of him on site. So he's very much giving the message that I am serving you. These are this is how it's going to help you. And so, yeah, it'll show us a shot in the background, but it's very much just so clear throughout the site. At the very top, you'll notice there wasn't a menu with links except book now. So that's about as minimal as you can get. It's just book now, this is what we do, and scroll through the site. At the very bottom of the site, he does have additional links with some shoots and different things, but he hits all the key things on his homepage. It's one page. And again, he has other pages at the bottom. But this is probably a good way to go to just get a super clear direct message right off the start, right off the bat. And you're not going to miss it as people scroll through. You kind of have to see the message or just book now.
Okay,
So.
Servant 360 or Servant 360.
Mm-hmm.
Show Home Real Estate Marketing. Show Home. Well, I guess their actual name is Show Home at showhome.co.nz.
Mm-hmm. And so, again, the site is going to hit all those key elements. I liked this site because it's a little bit more unique in design. So they did a good job of combining. I think they did a good job with their general branding. So their logo and the design elements of the site kind of all go together. So it's kind of a good example of a full, bigger picture of brand and design. And so like even from the little design elements in their logo, they got these like little triangles in their logo, and they pull those brand elements throughout the site. So I think that's a really clean way to go about it. And then of course, they're going to hit all those main things that we've talked about with the call to action, being clear with what they offer, value statements, establishing their experience. So you can see like those little green triangles at the bottom or teal. And then if you scroll all the way back up to their logo, you can see those triangles show up inside the logo as well. So I thought that was kind of clever and a nice touch. Let's see if I had anything else.
Yeah. Show Home at showhome.co.nz. Sightline, sightlinephoto.com.
So this site, you can't scroll. It starts with just, these are actually links. If you click them, they'll go to different pages, but it's basically a gallery. And this style is very common with a lot of photographers, but more photographers, typically architecture photographers, or photographers who really want to focus on the actual art of the photo. So this again is a different strategy. If you want your work to speak louder than the word, or you want your work to speak for itself, this is kind of one good way to do that. You have big, nice galleries that show your work. And so if you click through some of his site, you'll notice it's not text heavy. It's all visual. It's all just showing his work. And then of course there's the call to action buttons up top and a little bit about him and things like that if you want to go that route. But yeah, this is probably the best example of letting your work speak for itself.
Okay, sightline at sightlinephoto.com. Site of Savage Multimedia at siteofsavage.com.
So I like this site. They offer, lots of services. I thought this was a good example of, it's very straightforward, nothing too flashy, and it's just clean and clear. So it's just a good, straightforward, clean and clear website, which is great. You don't have to go too flashy. You don't have to have tons of design elements. If you just have clarity and have links and share information that people want to see, that's just the very, most important parts of a site. So that's mostly the aspects of this one that I was sharing. Another thing we haven't really clicked through is a lot of people have lots of different ways of, and we probably won't go into that, but there's so many other aspects of a website, such as like booking and contact forms. So we won't go, you'll notice we'll let people do that more on their own time, is click through all these sites and notice the booking forms they use, the contact forms they use, the different services that might help you discover new things. So a lot of people, I see things very simply from Calendly to Paperform to just something built into the website, and then other services that just like manage their whole business. So there's lots of variety for people to look at there.
That may be a show in itself, if you end up doing a blog post just on
Right.
maybe the booking or booking in contact.
Right. Yeah, that could be its own topic.
The
for
call
sure.
to action, that might
Right.
just be the topic, call to action, and then how do people do that?
Mhm.
Okay, so that's a Site of Savage Multimedia at siteofsavage.com. Next up is Strata Visuals at stratavisuals.com.
Yeah, I thought this site did a good job of design. They instantly hit you with a statement establishing their authority. So they're saying they're the top rated company in Houston. So that instantly tells you, a lot about them. I also like when sites say their location. I think that's a good thing. And they hit all the key things. This one I thought was a little more unique on design. They're using more darker elements more than lighter elements. So you don't have to go, I think a lot of sites will fall more on the like just having white background and keep everything super bright. You can do darker backgrounds in different design, and I think it looks good. This site, I really liked their service pages. So if you go to Our Work, just click on any of them and maybe click on a couple to show the differences. They do a good job of talking about the service briefly up top, and then give examples. So that was one thing. Here's another video unavailable. Also YouTube, so I wonder if they're using the same app or something.
That could be. Even just, I think earlier in the week, Vimeo was down.
Oh, really?
And I think and it wasn't just Vimeo, it was other platforms as well. So we could just have picked the day that there's a
Right.
service outage someplace.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, click one more to like another service page. So I think I just really liked these pages. They talk about it and show great examples, and kept their cool design elements with the background, and so I thought this is definitely one of my top favorites as well.
Okay, that's Strata Visuals at stratavisuals.com. Next up, Valley Creative at valleycreative.ca.
So this is definitely going to fall on that light and bright side. Very simple and clean website with immediately. So that I think they focus a lot on video. So of course, a lot of the people focusing on video, they're going to show a big video header with their highlight reel, basically. So I think that's a good idea. They jump into pricing. You can explore more services. You'll see these same elements come up. Show the clients they work with. So it's either, again, logos or testimonials or both, then contact form at the bottom. So services, I don't remember. Mostly, yeah, it's just nice, simple, and clean.
Okay, that's Valley Creative. Next up is Virtual Tour Minnesota at virtualtourmn.com. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm. This is another one that I would say is more to my taste. So I really like their design. I like their implementation of text and visuals. I think it's a really nice balance. There's also those cool like touches of color that matches with their brand. They hit again all those key elements that I mentioned at the beginning. I think I mentioned this is definitely top 2 or 3. It's very clear. There's tons of calls to action. I wrote balance. Balance is, I think, like just the site feels clean and balanced. It's super easy to read and navigate throughout. And then I also thought they did a good job of it feeling modern, but not like they're trying too hard. So sometimes modern can be too extreme. This is modern and fresh without, too extreme. So again, the idea of like, it's just really balanced and really nice. So this is definitely one that people should click around and see everything they do.
Okay, Virtual Tour MN at virtualtourmn.com. Next up, Visual Grip at visualgrip.com.
So Visual Grip here, this is a very large site. So they got tons of information, lots of pages. It's also another example of a very visual heavy site. So they kind of packed a lot of stuff in this site, which takes a lot of work. So if you're just starting out, that might be really intimidating, to try to feel like I don't think you have to go this route and put all this stuff, but I think it works for a lot of people. They probably have a lot of engagement on the site, people clicking around when you have a massive site. But then again, I don't know their numbers. It can go either way. But I thought that just in general, there's a lot of interesting design elements, different ways to present text and pictures and backgrounds. So a lot of things to click through and see how they implemented different aspects. So I think you could probably pull some inspiration and learn from this site. Again, it's very large, so there's lots of aspects to look at. That's a nice thing to do. A lot of people put the pre-shoot checklist up top. I've seen that on a couple sites. It does, add another line item to your menu, which some don't want. They want to keep that minimal, but I'm a big fan of the pre-shoot prep list to help prepare your clients.
Okay, so that's Visual Grip at visualgrip.com. Next up, 3D Spaces at 3dspaces.ca.
So this site, I really liked it because there's a lot of iGuide users out there. So they're very focused on iGuides specifically. They hit all those iGuide features. I really liked how they laid it out. It displays all the features and elements, gives an example. So again, this site hits all those key things you want on a homepage and keeps it really clear and clean. So this, I think, I try to add sites that focused on different services, different aspects. So there's some sites that might just mostly do photography, mostly do video. This one is one of those examples that they have a big focus on iGuide specifically. And I think they did a good job. You've got those client testimonials down there. Of course, the order, call to action. So.
Okay, that's 3D Spaces at 3dspaces.ca. Parallel 51 at 50. Maybe I have that wrong. 51 Parallel. Website is 51parallelmedia.com.
Mm-hmm. So this one, I wouldn't say they hit all the elements that I've mentioned on their first homepage, but I thought this was an interesting example of a different way to do a website. It's definitely a different type of design, so I thought it'd be a cool thing to share. You don't have to fit the mold of there's the very basic mold. You've got your menu up top and you've got, you can do that, but this is another option as well. So if you click on our services, it's that third one.
Third one. Did I miss?
You got it. You got it right. This is, of course, they went with the black background, white text. So it's just different. I thought it's still clear. They still share everything they probably need to share. They've got the call to actions. But I thought this was kind of a unique site. So I thought it'd be fun to share.
Okay.
And I think That might be the last one. There was one more on the list. It looks like I think
Well,
the site was down, but
I know this was not on your list, but I'm going to add it. Your company,
yeah,
Sherpa Media, at
yeah.
sherpamedia.co. Josh, what do you like about this website? This is your website.
This is my website. Yep, I designed this one. There's plenty of things I would fix or change on this site, but I wanted to go with the big value statement right at the beginning. So your property in the best light. So photo, video, and virtual tours that help you win online. So you'll see that win online statement because everything we provide is typically is digital. It's used online. It helps them win in what they do. We do serve lots of different industries. So yeah, we went kind of into a little value statement. We've got our different services. You can learn more about each. If you scroll down, my biggest challenge with my site was trying to make it work with all the different types of clients we serve. So I think it helps when you serve like just residential real estate agents, you can keep your site super focused on that. So if you click on learn more on residential real estate, you'll see we basically have a whole nother mini site just for real estate. And then there's different pages and all these things. And at the top, we've got our site of just simple what we do, services we offer, who we are, people care, and then a contact and a book now. So we give them the option if they're ready to book, they can go. If they just want to reach out and inquire, they can do that too.
Okay, so that's Sherpa Media. That's Josh's company at sherpamedia.co. Maybe what you could do, Josh, is give us again the big picture of what you were looking at, of why these websites check the box for you.
Yeah. So I had 4 things. They had to have a clear message, so it's just immediately obvious what they're offering. It's as a viewer, we all view lots of service-based websites. And if you can't figure out what they do, you're off. You don't want to spend too much. You don't want to work too hard understanding what they offer. So that's kind of the very basic. It's clear. They have a clear message, what they offer. And then easy to navigate. If they have a site that is just, it takes too long to load, you can't really figure out where to go, links aren't working, things like that. That's an immediate, it's not good. So clear message, easy to navigate. The third one was establishing authority and experience. So that's where you pull in your portfolio, you show those client testimonials, you show those logos to those big companies you've worked with. So you're immediately telling them, I know what I'm doing. So the third one was establishing authority and experience. The fourth one was that call to action. So if your viewer doesn't have an obvious place to go to contact you or book you, I think that's detrimental to a good website. So all these websites had a very clear call to action.
When you were putting together this show and tour blog post, 20 plus real estate photographer websites for inspiration, was it actually hard to get to 20?
There's a lot that I could fit on the list that were similar to others. So the hardest part was finding 20 that were fairly unique. And there's a lot of sites that was very easy. I could rule it off the list in 2 seconds because those 4 elements are very easy to spot. No call to action, no clear message. It only takes a few seconds to initially judge a site. Do they hit these key things? So I would say it took a lot of work actually to sift through sites, find good examples, and find unique examples as well.
Awesome. Josh, thanks for taking us through your show and tour 20 plus real estate photographer websites for inspiration. As I talked about at the top of the show, we have 2 special offers for show and tour. The first is 3 free months of show and tour starter plan. To get that offer, go to wgan.info/show and tour SHOWANDTOUR, with the coupon code WGANST. That's S as in show and T as in tour. WGANST is the coupon code. The second offer is for WGAN standard members can receive the free use of Show and Tour starter plan. And I think I should just even add a third, which is you can get Show and Tour free for up to 10 projects. And so you can get started with Show and Tour super easy, either using the free option, but I think you'll actually want to get the starter plan because it's kind of like getting a car that's nicely loaded. And so you can get 3 free months of Show and Tour starter plan. Again, just using the link wgan.info/show and tour, coupon code WGANST. If you just want to go directly to the website, showandtour.com, SHOWANDTOUR.com. And in the We Get Around Network forum, Josh is often posting to the We Get Around Network forum, WGANforum.com. Josh's member name, WGAN member name, forum member name is @Sherpa_media. Josh, we've covered a lot of ground today. Is there anything else that we've missed that we should talk about before we say au revoir?
I don't think so. I think we pretty much covered it. Yeah, everyone should check out Show and Tour. We offer it free as a way for you to get started. So I want people to not be locked into anything. We never ask for a credit card. I believe it provides a lot of value. So I'm excited to share it. And so I hope people take advantage of those free offers.
Yeah, Show and Tour, awesome platform. Just give us the top 5 things that it does, because it is like a Swiss Army knife of tools.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a full dashboard for you to manage your project. So for my photography company, we use this ourselves. So I've got three people in this every day. It manages all your projects in a super clean way. So you always have them categorized into clients. It's easy to just put everything in one place. So it's a project management tool. It helps you deliver your projects in an extremely professional way. So instead of sending an email with lots of little links to different things or to Dropbox that I've had agents that can't figure out Dropbox, it puts it all on this super clean project delivery page that just has it all. It's like its own website for your projects. It looks really professional, and everything we do is branded to your business. So we've got the project management, project delivery pages, and then last few things, there's property websites and custom players. So these are those value adding tools that help you build value for your clients. So property websites has always been a key element in my business because it helps those agents share your work. That's one of my favorite parts about it, is every time an agent shares a property website, they also share your logo, your brand, a link to your website. So it helps you promote yourself and add value at the same time.
And I would add that the Show and Tour players support really every 3D 360 virtual tour platform, in addition to photos and video and maps and YouTube videos and Vimeo videos, etc. So it's a very robust platform. I guess the way I would describe it is, you are a photographer. You created the tool, the platform that you felt you needed for your business, and this would work for lots of other businesses, so you built it out. And Josh has been on our show before talking all about Show and Tour. So if you want to, do an hour plus just hearing Josh take you through Show and Tour, come back to the We Get Around Network forum and just in the search bar, WGAN-TV Show and Tour, pop up that episode. Josh, thanks again for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
We've been visiting with Josh Mays. Josh is the founder of Show and Tour. That's at showandtour.com. For Josh, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network forum, and you've been watching WGA.